Number 10. Tragedy. One of the more truly tragic revelations since the book's release is the fact that Megan suffered a loss very late in her journey as a mom. Within the final pages of the poetry book, Megan describes the heartbreaking pregnancy loss that she suffered with her fiance Colson Baker, better known as MGK. Megan told Kana Whitworth from ABC News that she had never been through anything like that before in her life. She has 3 kids already, so it was very difficult for both of them, and it sent them on a very wild journey together and separately and together and apart, trying to navigate what everything means and why it happened. Megan has made it clear since day one that this is not some expose memoir that you're going to sit down and read for 20 hours on end. This is a collection of truth told through her words. A story that needed to be shared or it was going to make her sick. She's dealt with physical violence from exes, manipulation, tragedy, all these things that she's had to deal with alone or behind closed doors. While she never names any names in her book, we still feel our hearts ache and wrench when she reads a single sentence. Number 9. Addicted to Boys. The title of Megan's book of poems is called Pretty Boys Are Poisonous and is filled with multiple excerpts regarding her past relationships. One thing that she's spoken about briefly in interviews about this book is the fact that she was addicted to boys and had a history of getting together with her co-stars. She told Drew Barrymore on The Drew Barrymore Show that when she was young, she was really rebellious and wild, always running away to fall in love with a new flame, aka every single co-star. She added that at the time, she felt herself to be a free spirit and was just addicted to the idea of falling in love. She went on to tell Drew that it was actually her kids, Noah, Bodhi, and Journey, that changed her whole mindset on relationships and love. She shares her 3 sons with her ex, Brian Austin Green, and she claims that something happened when she had her first child. She realized she didn't want to repeat the pattern of her own parents with her kids. Despite being a solid mom, she did admit that she's been a little bad in the past, admitting that she painted a Friedrich Nietzsche quote on an ex's wall in a ton of paint just so they had to redo their room, poking fun at herself by saying anyone who dated her should write a poetry book as she was not a peach. Number 8. Oxy and Takiki. There is a poem in this book that shares a similar name to this entry, kind of. I'm not allowed to say the real thing on the internet. And restrictions. Megan revealed on Good Morning America that she has been in several physical and mentally damaging relationships. I know that's not even close to the right word to use, but again, can't say the real one. She explained that she was involved with a very famous dude, but that nobody knew that she was dating him. This unnamed celebrity is one of the men described as an evil ex in this book. In her poem, she describes a dark moment with this unnamed man, writing, "Your eyes go black and I know it's too late to run." She told people that she was pinned, spat on, and later had hands placed on her throat by a delusional and possessed man. I had the opportunity to listen to some parts of this book, and I am saying this with 100% sincerity. Go read this book. Megan is a wonderful writer, and I honestly feel like these words are so powerful. This particular one is indescribable. Like, I can't read the entire thing because it's got so many no-no words in it, but also I don't want to ruin it for you. Number 7, MGK rumors. Cheating rumors are always circulating about everyone. Nobody believes that Hollywood icons can partake in a normal, healthy relationship. For Megan and her fiance MGK, there have been rumors forever. Since the first day that these two were spotted together, people have been convinced that MGK is somehow an unfaithful maniac. But like, why do people think that? Not sure if you've listened to this guy speak about his music or just in general recently, but he's a bit of a sweetheart. I watched this man paint his nails with Drew Barrymore on her show. They talked about life, career, and so many cool things, yet the internet looks at this man and just assumes that he's a menace. Well, the rumors were of course false, and Megan Fox actually had to clear the air herself. There was a rumor that MGK was seeing someone named Sophie, who is MGK's guitarist. Megan cleared the air and let everybody know that not only had MGK never cheated on her, she was actually pretty close with bandmates and was confident that Sophie and her fiance were not an item. Megan told people that it was extremely disrespectful to run a news story that was baseless and contains only lies. Very true. Number 6. 2009 Golden Globes. Now, this isn't a revelation from a book, but it's something that she had to go through publicly, and it does deserve to be mentioned. In 2009, comments started flying left and right after Megan Fox was spotted acting a little bit strange at that year's Golden Globes award ceremony. She explained that during the event, she was placed at a table with Blake Lively and the Jonas Brothers. In the center of the table was a bottle of Moe Champagne. She went through multiple glasses of that very quickly. At the time, she was not much of a no-no juice indulger, but following her actions at the event, she decided to quit for good. She actually had herself a good old-fashioned blackout at the event, but the parts that she does remember are not great. She went on the red carpet and said a lot of things that apparently got her in a ton of trouble. In a clip from 2009, Megan can be seen walking around telling people how nervous she was to be there and that she was on the verge of tossing up her cookies at any moment. She also made a ton of comments on her female co-stars, nothing bad. Just one quote I found in particular was her expressing how much she wanted to have Salma Hayek's chest. The evening was also a bit strange as people were wondering where her husband at the time, Brian Austin Green, was. She told people that he was a man with an ego and that he didn't want to be her date. Number 5. Shoplifting. Megan's done a lot of things over the years, and one of those things, as it turns out, is shoplifting. Not while she was famous though. She did not pull a Winona Ryder. She actually stole a $7 bottle of lip gloss from the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen makeup collection when she was still in her teens. She revealed in a resurfaced interview that the Walmart employees actually caught her and called the police. She was made to go to a real courtroom and appear in front of a real judge who gave her two options. Either she had to wear a sign that says "I stole from Walmart" and stand outside for 3 days, or she could wrap Christmas presents. Guess which one she picked. So hey, if you had Christmas presents wrapped at a Walmart in the US roughly 20 years ago, might have been Megan Fox. Hey, that's pretty cool. There is not a chance on this planet that that paper still exists, but hey, that'd be pretty valuable paper if it did. Number 4, Michael Bay scandal. Megan has been featured in several films over the years, but it was an interview about her time working with Michael Bay that landed her in a lot of hot water. The original live-action Transformers movies came out in 2007 and co-starred Megan and Shia LaBeouf in the leading roles. Now, they were fun films on screen, but behind the scenes there was apparently a ton of tension on set. According to Megan, who had previously worked with Michael on Bad Boys 2, working for Michael was like working for Schmittler. Fun fact, if you had sh in front of someone's names, you can say it online. Loophole. Of course, Michael didn't appreciate being compared to like one of the worst men in human history, so many speculated that her being left out of the third movie might have had something to do with this behind-the-scenes drama. She went on to call him bland and claimed that he had no personality or social skills, which is just plain rude. I don't know why she had to say that. When the comments were made public, her career began to slowly suffer. Not only was she written out of the Transformers series, but she was forced to make a public apology and retract her statements following the slew of backlash. She took a few years off, but Michael himself later acknowledged that there were missteps on both parts and accepted her retractions. But the pair were able to patch things up and work together on the live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies from 2014. So, yay us! Number 3, Me Too movement. As some may remember, the Me Too movement began back in the mid-2010s and acted as a conduit for performers to speak out against their fellow Hollywood peers and, actually have their voices heard. Many celebrities were outed, and the situations with them are so bad that I can't even say their names. But I can make up new ones. People like Bill Cos, Harvey Hamburger Shop, and Kevin Spaceman were at the forefront of these allegations. Megan was actually left out of this conversation at the time, and it was mainly due to her being annoyed at Hollywood. She had actually been trying to out some of her peers for years, but according to Megan, she was ridiculed every time she actually spoke up. For Megan, she had already expressed how uncomfortable she felt on certain sets, especially Bad Boys 2, where she was under a waterfall at the age of 15, and claims that she had tried to bring attention to the misogyny that exists in Hollywood long before the movement existed. However, the movement only made her a bigger punchline. Even when she attempted to branch out into more female-led projects, she was apparently met with similar ridicule. She claims to have never felt truly included in the movement, but believes in it nonetheless. Number 2, lied about LA. Celebrities indulge their stories all the time. Most careers are literally built on the foundation of lying for money. While Megan may be great on screen, she's apparently a wonderful liar off screen as well. During an interview with GQ a while back, she detailed her wild nights out when she first moved to Los Angeles, detailing a specific club that she used to attend regularly called The Body Shop. Inside, she met a woman named Nikita and fell hard. Megan explains that she would buy her things, frequent the establishments, and a few other steamy details that I can't get into. However, a few years later, the story was revealed to be heavily indulged by Megan herself. herself. She said that the story was true, but she might have exaggerated some of the aspects for fun. For instance, she made it seem like the relationship between herself and Nikita was physical or romantic, but that just wasn't the case. She just had a crush and they got along. Simple as that. And at number 1, legendary. While in attendance at the highly anticipated battle between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 in 2021, Meghan made some observations about the former president, Donald Trump. During an interview with Jimmy Kimmel, she revealed that the entire audience was in awe of this man attending the event. She said that when he entered, it was to a ton of applause, and that he was surrounded by tons of Secret Service agents, to which she said Trump was the legend. Now, when news broke that Meghan called him a legend, there was a ton of backlash, but she quickly clarified what she meant with the statement. She said that she doesn't align herself with any political parties or individual politicians. She never said that Don was a legend. She said that his appearance at the arena was legendary, okay? She ended the statement by sarcastically saying that she appreciated the uneducated, medieval, pitchfork-carrying, burn a witch at the stake mentality that the world needs more of. Well said. Number 10. Justin Timberlake. One of the most discussed sections of the memoir is, of course, the revelation of what really happened when Britney and her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Justin Timberlake got together. After meeting JT in the clubhouse, the two sparked a romantic connection. Their connection was strong, but unfortunately Britney had to make a difficult decision in the year 2000 after she found out she was pregnant. At first, Britney was actually pretty excited about the whole thing. In her book, she revealed that she had planned on starting a family with Justin at some point, but this was just going to be a little bit earlier than she expected. It turns out Justin was not so excited and told her that they were both too young to be starting a family, continuing to remind her that their careers would also need to be put on pause. This revelation may be part of the reason that Justin was reportedly so nervous leading up to the book's release. Britney revealed that if the decision had solely been left to her, she would have gone through with the pregnancy, but she decided to go the opposite route instead. She claims to have only done it because Justin just so clearly did not want to be the father. In the book, she said that, look back, it's one of the most agonizing things she had ever experienced in her life. Number 9. Mama Spears. One thing that comes up a lot in Britney Spears' memoir is her relationship to her parents. She discusses the strain that has been placed especially on the bond between herself and her mother, Lynn Spears. She dives deep into her childhood and what really went down, and in the book she said that she started drinking no-no juice with her mother when she was just in the 8th grade. Of course, that is awful and nobody should ever do that because Britney wouldn't just have a sip of grape juice now and again. No, she would drink no-no juice like it was her job. She explained that for fun, she started having fruity no-no juice with her mom while they were in Biloxi, Mississippi. To make things feel less, illegal, they would call the drinks toddies, named after the adult beverage that's basically just no-no tea. Britney felt a special bond with her mother because of this, especially considering the contrast between her mom and her father, Jamie. You see, when her mom had a few, she was bubbly and happy, and same with Britney, but when Jamie had a few, he would get angry and depressed. The behavior is terrible, and while bonding with your parents is pretty awesome, that is not the right way to do it. Number 8. The Snake. Britney Spears has performed at the Video Music Awards a few times over her career, but none quite as memorable as her infamous dance with the snake at the 2001 VMA ceremony. Britney walked on stage and began a performance of I'm a Slave for You with a massive snake draped across her shoulders. At first it seemed cool, but throughout the performance she doesn't look at it once, keeping her head down or aimed directly at the audience. In the memoir, she revealed that she is not only terrified of snakes, but that this one actually started hissing in her ears while she was on stage. Partway through the performance, the snake wraps around her and puts its face right near her ear, where she claims it hissed so loudly that for a moment she thought it was going to bite her face off. But she continued with the performance, and thankfully she still has her face, so that's very good. Number 7. The Notebook. While Britney may be known for her musical talents, she did have a short career in the film industry in the early 2000s. Her first role was in the film Crossroads, which, despite having a stellar cast, was apparently a very difficult experience for Britney. Although she was thrown off by that film, she was actually offered the co-starring lead role in The Notebook. The process went so deep that before production was set to begin, it was down to her and Rachel McAdams for the part. Now, we all know what happened when Rachel McAdams got the role. She had a terrible time on set and spent 2 years with Ryan Gosling off screen. Yay! Britney said it would have been fun to reconnect with her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Ryan Gosling for a full-length feature, but in the end she's pretty glad that they didn't pick her. She instead decided to work on her album In the Zone, putting her creative efforts to good use despite this Hollywood rejection. Now, while the film has gone down in history as a rom-com classic, nobody can even fathom what a Britney and Ryan-led movie might have looked like. But it probably would have looked something like this. Number 6, Mickey Mouse Club. Now, I actually didn't know this because, to be honest, I'm not a big Britney Spears fan. Oh, I know, it's a shocker, I just scream pop music. But the first time I saw this woman on screen was genuinely in Austin Powers Goldmember, and her head exploded. So, overall, pretty solid first impression. However, her actual first role in the acting world took place in 1993, after she landed a gig on the Mickey Mouse Club, a show that would turn out to be a huge part of her life. Despite the colorful set and overall just Disney-ness of the show, Britney explained that filming was never easy. She revealed that the show was like being at a boot camp for the entertainment industry. Extensive dance rehearsals, singing lessons, acting classes, time in the recording studio, school in between, it was a lot. In fact, much like school, she explained that the show's cast was divided into cliques, with the younger castmates being in one crew and the olders being in the other. She admitted that there were some fun moments, like sharing a little smooch with Justin Timberlake, but it was still a very grueling job. She said it was extremely hard to work, and more often than not, the groups would be in rehearsal practicing choreography 30 times a day. That's like 28 times too many. At the end of the day, Britney treated the club like a job that took up a ton of her childhood. Number 5, Jamie Spears. Britney's father, Jamie, has had a complex relationship with his daughter for most of her life. In her memoir, she shared the harsh judgment she constantly received from her papa. She explained that she thought getting criticized for her body in the press was bad, but it hurt even more when it was coming from her own father. He repeatedly told her that she looked heavy and that she really needed to do something about it. It wasn't that nice, but I'm paraphrasing. She explained that even as a small child, he never gave her the love or the attention that she needed. In the book, she said that feeling like you are never good enough is a soul-crushing state for a young child. He drummed that message into her growing up, and even after she accomplished so much, he was continuing to make her feel like dirt. Jamie's wild opinions about Britney got so much worse when she was under her conservatorship. Under the conservatorship, Jamie was named as one of the several people in her life that could make important decisions for her, mind, body, and soul, and she was forced to grow her recently shaved hair back and get back into shape. For 13 years, Jamie remained in control of her life, right up until the suspension in 2021. Speaking of which, number 4, conservatorship. As many may know, Britney was placed under a psychiatric hold in 2008 following what we will call a difficult evening, and was later placed under a conservatorship by her father, Jamie. In her book, she explained what she had been going through at the time. She said that shaving her head and acting out were her ways of pushing back. Under the conservatorship, she was made to understand that those days were now over. She had to grow her hair back, get back into shape, and she went to bed early and had to take whatever medications that they told her to. Britney revealed that she felt like an infant under the conservatorship and lost her passion for music. She explained that she started to feel more and more like a thing on stage rather than a person. In her book, she said she had always felt music in her bones, but her family kind of stole that from her. She reminded readers of the contrast between male and female artists, telling them to think of all the male artists who've gambled their money away, who had substance control issues or mental health issues, and many of them have never had control of their bodies or money taken away. Before the book was released, people were just under the impression that the conservatorship was some kind of a financial thing, but as her book has revealed, it's a lot darker than that. Number 3, The Secret Man. Among the many things being revealed in Britney's memoir, one shocking revelation was that she actually met and fell in love with a man while under her conservatorship that almost led her to fleeing the US with said man. She explained that she was talking to a guy that she really liked, and he wanted her to leave the country with him. Not creepy at all. They had a secret relationship for quite some time and were eventually set to make the journey across the sea. But when she opened up about the romance to her assistant, she was hesitant, saying that she was worried what her father may do. Her assistant guaranteed nothing would happen, but was proven wrong when she was forced into a mental health facility around the same time that she was supposed to leave the country. And there's never been a confirmation if the two situations are related, but it kind of feels like it is. Yeah, it feels like they were. Number 2, finding her voice. Britney has been through a ton in her life, but it turns out that we didn't even know the half of it. During her court testimonies, while she was attempting to reclaim her freedom, she said that she was forced to go to a mental health facility against her will in early 2019. It was almost 2 years ago that she regained control of her millions and every other aspect of her life. In 2022, her father requested to unseal all of the records from the duration of her conservatorship. Britney's attorney, Matthew Rosen Rosengart called this move offensive and highly inappropriate. He explained that they did not believe a father who loves his daughter would file to unseal her medical records. Makes sense. Britney's new book is a new revelation to her side of things. A little over a year ago, her younger sister Jamie Lynn released a book called Things I Should Have Said, and in it she included a ton of details regarding Britney that seemed to paint her in a bad light. But most of Britney's fans felt that the stories were just a way to profit off her older sister during a time when she was still making headlines. And at number 1, lost all control. As previously mentioned, when Britney was placed under her conservatorship, every single aspect of her life was controlled by someone else, and mostly her dad. She was unable to make financial, physical, or personal decisions without running them through Lil Papa Jamie first, a man who is just notorious for being a terrible person both inside and out. While the conservatorship was dropped in 2021, the pain of her time is still lingering. She said that the conservatorship stripped her of her womanhood and made her feel like a child. In her memoir, Britney revealed that if she had been allowed to make her own decisions instead of her father, that she would be in a much better place. She wrote that 13 years of her life went by with her feeling like a shadow of herself. She constantly thinks back to the times her father would control her body or her money, and it makes her sick to her stomach. Most of her life was controlled by someone else for a very long time, but now that she's free, who knows what will happen next. And those are the dark secrets revealed in Britney's memoir. Number 10. Madonna. Madonna's name is mentioned several times throughout Britney's memoir, 17 to be exact. As a young girl, Britney idolized Madonna and did everything to be like her. Once she gained some fame and was asked to attend award shows, Britney was bumping into Madonna all around the world. At one point in time, she was staying with music icon Cher when Madonna came by for a little visit. Britney claims that she found a mentor in Madonna. Her confidence helped her see a lot about her situation with a fresh set of eyes. While rehearsing for the Video Music Awards one year, Britney had the idea to get Madonna involved on her single Me Against the Music. She approached her directly, and the rest is history. Reflecting on her past following her time spent with Madonna, Britney claims that if she could go back, she would attempt to be her own everything. Her boss, her own parent, her own friend, her own partner, because hey, that's what Madonna does. Spears was in awe of how much Madonna refused to compromise her artistic vision and integrity, something that she carried with her for years, and thanks Madonna for allowing her to witness. Number 9. Colin Farrell. Shortly after her breakup with Justin Timberlake, Spears revealed that she laid eyes on a handsome man named Colin Farrell. Farrell, who you may know from the first Fantastic Beasts film or one of his several dramatic roles, but who I know as Bullseye from Daredevil. She met Colin on the set of SWAT, and there was no security on the set, so Britney was just kinda able to drive up and pop by for a visit. One day while visiting the soundstage, the director of SWAT spotted her and asked if she would like to watch them film a scene, and Colin approached. According to Britney herself and Colin were involved in a 2-week brawl. What that translates to is they could not take their hands off each other. He even took her to the premiere of The Recruit, where she accidentally wore a pajama top instead of normal clothes. Quite the brawl indeed. She claimed that the fling was short and ended quick after she realized that she was just using Colin as a rebound, still not being over Justin Timberlake. Speaking of which, number 8. Justin Timberlake. One of the most discussed sections of her memoir is of course the revelation of what really happened when Britney Spears and her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Justin Timberlake got together. After meeting JT in the clubhouse, the two sparked a romantic connection. Their connection was so strong, but unfortunately Britney had to make a difficult decision in the year 2000 after she found out that she was pregnant. At first, Britney was actually pretty excited about the whole thing. In her book, she revealed that she had planned on starting a family with Justin at some point, but that this was just going to be a little bit earlier than she expected. It turns out that Justin was not so excited and told her that they were both too young to be starting a family, continuing to remind her that their careers would also need to be put on pause. This revelation may be part of the reason that Justin was reportedly so nervous leading up to the book's release. Britney revealed that if the decision had solely been left to her, she would have gone through with the pregnancy, but she decided to go the opposite route instead. She claims to have only done it because Justin so clearly did not want to be the father. In the book, she said that looking back, it's one of the most agonizing things she has ever experienced in her life. Number 7. Christina Aguilera. Christina and Britney met the same way that most young Hollywood people meet, while auditioning for the all-new Mickey Mouse Club. During the first round of auditions, neither of them made the cut, but they were reintroduced after they were recasted later on, even sharing a dressing room during their time on the show in the 90s. The up-and-coming starlets were pitted against each other in the media and were often made to look like rivals. In the memoir, not much light is shed on this aspect of the relationship, but she did mention that she was very confused when Christina was vocally in support of Britney and Justin getting back together in 2003, writing that she was surprised considering how negative she had been about the situation behind closed doors. She is also completely out of the conversation when she mentions her onstage kiss with Madonna in 2001, which we'll get into in a little bit. Later in the book, Britney actually compliments Christina on her ability to handle her nerves when it comes to live TV appearances. However, Britney also revealed that herself and Christina would often employ the same dancers and would all go out and hang out together, you know, have a couple of bevies and celebrate. But under Britney's conservatorship, she was made to remain sober. She explained that Christina was a bit messed up, indulging a bit too much for Britney's liking. Britney admitted that it would have been nice to let loose with her friends at the time, but now that she's out of the conservatorship, her and Christina are free to party. Number 6. Rachel McAdams. For anyone who may have forgotten, Britney is not just famous in the world of music, but she actually attempted to get a little acting career off the ground for a brief period in the early 2000s. Following her turn in the film Crossroads, she auditioned for a big role in the rom-com The Notebook. That's right, The Notebook was almost a movie featuring Ryan Gosling and Britney Spears, literally. She got so far into the casting process that it was down to either her or Rachel for the role. In the end, as we all know, they went with Rachel McAdams, but that is a choice that Britney fully supported. Apparently, she started to get cold feet the further into the process that they went. Instead of being in The Notebook, she went on to work on her album In the Zone, putting her creative efforts to good use despite this Hollywood rejection. While we may never know what that movie would have turned out like, I made a little something to help you visualize it. Look! It's Britney Spears in a boat with Ryan Gosling. Thanks, Photoshop. Number 5. Elton John. The Rocket Man himself actually played a pivotal role in Britney being able to find her musical voice after her struggles with her conservatorship. In her memoir, Spears shared that she hadn't been thinking about recording music until Elton John reached out to her to collaborate on Hold Me Closer, a modern duet version of his hit song Tiny Dancer, a song that Britney claims to have blasted on repeat growing up. Spears and John had met almost a decade earlier and got along very well, but she was beyond excited to actually work with this guy who she idolized growing up. The result of their collaboration was Britney's first #1 song and longest charting single in over 10 years. Number 4. Justin Timberlake. Again, hey! It's JT! Again! Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're not done with this guy. Part of the memoir revealed that the baby thing happened, but another part revealed exactly what this man did to break up with Britney. He sent her a 2-word text. That was it. Following the breakup, Justin wrote and released the song Cry Me a River based on his experience with Britney, claiming that she had cheated on him while they were together, which kinda prompted the 2-word text breakup. The breakup happened while Britney was on set for the overprotected Dark Child remix music video in LA. But towards the end of the second day of filming, the director Chris Applebaum told Page 6 that Spears suddenly went missing for almost an hour. The director found Britney in her trailer on the floor with her legs crossed, bawling her eyes out while her makeup smudged. She said nothing but showed him the text that she had received from Justin that simply said the words, "It's over." 2 words was all that he felt necessary to end things with a woman who almost had his kid, and I'm not really sure how to feel about that. Number 3. Natalie Portman. Who would have guessed that Natalie Portman of all people would be mentioned in a memoir by Britney Spears? But as luck would have it, this is a small world, and the Thor Love and Thunder star actually crossed paths with Britney when they were both understudies in the off-Broadway production of Ruthless. They both played a sociopathic star named Tina Denmark, a role that Britney claims felt close to home for her. That's not a good thing to say about that role. Following her split from Justin Timberlake, she co-hosted a New Year's Eve party in New York with Natalie as a callback to their theater days. Now, I've never pictured Britney Spears on stage doing anything other than singing, but the idea of her also acting in a live show is kinda neat. Hey, Broadway people, call Britney and Natalie up, get them casted together in a production of Wicked or something. I'd watch that. Britney can be Elphaba, and Natalie can be who whoever she wants because she's Natalie frickin' Portman. Number 2. Mariah Carey. Despite being a mega pop star herself, Britney had a mega fangirl moment when she met Mariah Carey. In the early years of her career, Britney had been a longtime fan of Mariah's work. As a kid, she would practice performing by making homemade music videos of herself dancing and singing to Carey's music. She introduced herself to Mariah by knocking on her dressing room door backstage at an award show that the two had been attending. She details that Mariah was a sweetheart and immediately said yes to taking a picture together, but in true Mariah fashion, she would not accept anything but good lighting and the right angles. She did everything she was told by Mariah in order to get the right angle, and Britney claimed that Mariah knows her stuff, and the pic looked incredible. She knew she had won an award that night, but she could not compare her trophy to her picture with her childhood hero. And at number 1, Max Martin. While working on her first album, Britney was encouraged by record label executives to meet a producer from Sweden. She and Max Martin met to have a little chit-chat. Max went on to become one of pop music's most successful songwriters and producers. Their dinner was private, there were no assistants or label representatives, it was just them and some steak. Within seconds of sitting down, a candle fell over and set their table on fire. They ran out of the room, and the rest is history. Despite their first meeting literally going up in flames, he was impressed with her talents and she with his skills as a producer. They started working together immediately after, with Britney flying back and forth to Sweden to record.
In at number 10, To Be Determined by Britney Spears. It has just been announced that Britney's first post-conservatorship project will be writing a memoir based on her life. She signed a deal with Simon & Schuster for $15 million after a bidding war with multiple other publishing companies. This deal is one of the biggest book deals of all time, only behind the Obamas, who sold their books for $60 million to Penguin Random House. A source close to Britney told Page Six, quote, "The narrative has been shifted time and time again by the media, paparazzi, Britney's exes, and even her own family. After being silenced for almost 14 years, she's ready to take back her voice, something that never should have been taken from her in the first place. Britney has had one of the most iconic careers ever, and we're sure she'll be talking about her conservatorship and family issues, along with her high-profile relationships and career success. And this is the first of many new projects she has coming in 2022. Britney has stated on her social media accounts that she hopes to record a new album soon." And at number 9, Inside Out by Demi Moore. Demi Moore's memoir is one of the realest out there, and she revealed personal details that no other celebrity would think of. She spoke a ton about her failed marriage to Ashton Kutcher, and even admitted they used to invite third parties to sleep with them to try and recover their marriage. Unfortunately, that tactic did not work. She also spoke about her insane rise to fame and the struggles that came along with it, like addiction. She dishes out messy details about her relationship with ex-husbands Ashton Kutcher and Bruce Willis. Moore also included details about her fling with Rob Lowe and her hookup with Jon Cryer, as he told the world afterwards that he lost his V card to Moore even though he had slept with other women before her. And at number 8, The Secrets of My Life by Caitlyn Jenner. This memoir was insane because it exposed an entirely new side of Caitlyn Jenner the world had never seen before, even though Caitlyn had been uber famous while she was on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The book was so messy, it's the reason that the Kardashians cut Caitlyn off shortly after her transition. The book mainly focuses on Caitlyn keeping her true self hidden from the world, and she claims that Kris and the family knew of her gender identity issues years beforehand, but forced her to stay silent, a claim which the entire Kardashian family has denied. On Keeping Up, Kris Jenner said about the book, quote, "Everything she says is all made up. Why does everything have to be that Kris is such a..." Caitlyn responded to the controversy, stating that she told Kris about her identity in the beginning of their marriage. At this point, it's hard to know who to believe. And at number 7, Down the Rabbit Hole by Holly Madison. After the show The Girls Next Door became a huge hit, everyone wanted to know what really happened to the ladies while they were in the house, and head girlfriend Holly Madison shared her side of the story in her explosive memoir. Holly spoke about the oppressive and controlling tactics that Hef would use to make sure the girls never left him, like giving them an allowance and punishing them if they tried to save it. Holly wrote in the book, quote, "Hef knew how desperate, sad, and broken I was, but didn't do a damn thing about it. I'd given 7 years of my life to a man who couldn't even have a conversation with me." She also revealed the bedtime rituals the girls would have to partake in once a week, and apparently all the women would have to go to Hef's room and take turns sleeping with him, if you catch my drift. Overall, Madison portrays Hefner to be a highly manipulative figure who prevented the women from having independent lives, and a lot of her stories have been confirmed by the other women. And at number 6, Open Book by Jessica Simpson. In Simpson's 2020 memoir, she put it all on the table, talking about her failed marriage to Nick Lachey, her career highs and lows, and her struggle with alcohol addiction. She admits that when she was a rising star, she was often compared to Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, and that gave her confidence issues. She also remembers the time when male executives called her overweight and told her that she needed to lose some pounds if she wanted to book roles, and this created a years-long struggle with eating. She was also incredibly open about her struggles with substance addiction. She admitted that she had such a bad experience on Halloween of 2017, she decided to go sober the next day. She was too wasted to help her kids get ready on Halloween night, and she slept the entire night and day so they would not have to see her in that state. Halfway number 5, Kris Jenner and All Things Kardashian by Kris Jenner. The Kardashian family is one of the most famous and interesting of our time, and the family has been at the center of huge moments in history. In Kris's book, she focuses on the hardest time of her life, the trial of O.J. Simpson. Nicole Brown Simpson had been one of her best friends, and she even gave her daughter Kendall the middle name Nicole to honor her friend. In the book, Kris states how she knew O.J. was guilty, and she was heartbroken their ex-husband, Rob Kardashian, defended O.J. She spoke of the strain this put on their co-parenting and how it affected the kids. Kris also spoke about how she met Robert when she was very young, and she ended up cheating on him multiple times throughout the marriage. At the time the book was released, her daughter shared how hard it was for them to read these dirty details, and it mainly affected oldest daughter Courtney. And at number 4, Little Girl Lost by Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore had such an insane childhood, she had enough to write a memoir about when she was only 15. After starring in E.T. in 1982, she quickly descended into substance addiction, and it got so bad she was put into rehab at the age of 14. In the book, she revealed the tragic story of how she ended up in the party scene before hitting puberty. Apparently, it was all thanks to her mother. Drew revealed that her mother started pouring alcohol over her ice cream when she was only 7 years old, and she got drunk the first time at Rob Lowe's birthday when she was only 10. According to The Guardian, her mother first took her to Studio 54 that same year, and the pair often went to clubs throughout Barrymore's childhood. When talking about Studio 54, Drew recalled, quote, "It was like Disneyland for adults, only I got to be a part of it. We went out pretty regularly, sometimes once a week, other times up to 5 times, but nothing was never enough for me." And at number 3, Troublemaker Surviving Hollywood and Scientology. Leah Remini went from being a Hollywood actress to a woman on a mission to expose the truth about Scientology. In her memoir, she exposed the truth behind her shocking split from Scientology. She revealed that when she was only a teenager, she went to the Scientology-run Sandcastle Hotel in Florida, and like any other person, she wanted to suntan at the beach. But for some reason that was prohibited, and when she was caught, they took her out to sea and threw her off a boat, almost drowning her. That's not all. After she took food from the headquarters, she was fined $40,000. In addition to the book, she also has a TV program where she attempts to expose the secrets of Scientology. And at number 2, Family Rift by Tori Spelling. Tori Spelling comes from one of the richest families in Hollywood, so it's no shock that everyone wanted to hear the dirty details that the family kept hidden. Tori is the daughter of legendary Hollywood producer Aaron Spelling. Their home, called the Spelling Manor, is one of the most expensive in the world and was recently listed for $165 million. In the book, Tori spoke about her strained relationship with her mother. Tori accused her mother, Candy, of having an affair with a family friend while her father was on his deathbed. At the time her dad passed, Candy and Tori were not on speaking terms, and Candy apparently cut her off and gave her no money after she was kicked out. Tori was broke for years after and had to get money from friends to survive. Tori also claimed she learned about her father's death from an email because her mother didn't tell her herself. And finally, at number 1, No Lifeguard on Duty: The Accidental Life of the World's First Supermodel. This memoir by Janice Dickinson exposed the horrible truth behind her rise to become the world's first supermodel. Her life is so interesting that this was the first of 3 memoirs written by Dickinson. This memoir focused mostly on her life during the 60s and 70s during her early career. Her next focused on her botched plastic surgeries and struggles with eating caused by her years in modeling. People loved this book because of how honest she was about her rise to fame, even throwing some other celebrities under the bus in the process.
Number 10, Brian Austin Green. Megan's relationship to Brian Austin Green is one of her longest and more recent before MGK. They were together for over 16 years and have kids together. They first met in 2004 while filming the sitcom Hope and Faith and fell madly in love. After all that time, she officially filed for a divorce after coming home from filming a movie. According to Megan, she had spent a lot of time on her own and just loved the way it felt. something she said she needed to explore more. On her own was the way she liked it, and in the years since, Brian Austin Green has actually said that he was upset at first, but came to understand her position. She didn't ask to feel that way when she left. Many fans of the poems believe that she made reference to her relationship with Brian several times, considering the content of the poems and what they're really about. Brian being mentioned may not be the best thing for him. Number 9, Shia LaBeouf. Starring together in a movie means a lot of time spent in each other's company. After starring on the set of the first Transformers film, Megan and her co-star Shia LaBeouf became an item. Megan says very plainly in her book that she has an addiction to boys, and namely, her co-stars. However, another section of her book describes a very toxic relationship that lasted around 2 years. And as we know now, Shia has not been the best boy in town. He's been accused by ex-partners of being rude, physical, and exceedingly manipulative. Now, over the past few years, Shia has attempted to reinvent that image, being real with the world and owning up to his mistakes. Many people believe that Shia is who this poem is really about, but considering what Megan has said about Shia over the years, we don't think that's the case. She has said in recent years that she loves Shia, not loved, loves. They apparently had a very serious connection on set, but as soon as she was no longer involved with the franchise, the relationship ended. Is Shia one of the many men she's speaking of in this book of poems? Who knows? Number 8, David Gallagher. David is one of the more concerning parts of Megan's dating history, and evidence would show that one of her poems surrounding a toxic relationship may in fact be in reference to David. In her poems, Megan writes about a toxic relationship that she was eventually able to get out of thanks to the support of her friends and her family. The relationship lasted roughly 2 years, and she has never said out loud who this person is. Understandably, she doesn't want to start some kind of a legal situation over a relationship, even though from the sounds of it, she has every right to throw this man in jail. It's never been confirmed if David is in fact the man that she mentions in the pages of her poems, but it seems to make the most sense. She's been relatively quiet about their time together, the relationship lasted the right amount of time, and something about the photos of them together from back in the day just don't sit well with people. Again, I don't know for sure what's what, so please don't take what I'm saying as me revealing the truth, because at the end of the day, this list is a combination of things that I found on the internet and actual information from her book. So, hey man, if I had the inside scoop, that would be awesome. Number 7, MGK. Cheating rumors are always circulating about everyone. No one believes that Hollywood icons can actually have a normal, healthy relationship. For Megan and her fiance MGK, there have been rumors since day one. Since the first day these two were spotted together, people have been convinced that MGK is somehow an unfaithful maniac. But why? Why would people think that? I'm not sure if you've listened to this guy speak about his music or just in general, but he's kind of a sweetheart. I watched him paint his nails with Drew Barrymore on her show. They talked about life, careers, so many neat things, and yet the internet looks at this dude and just assumes that he's a menace. Well, the rumors were of course false, and Megan Fox cleared the air herself. There was a rumor that MGK was seeing someone named Sophie, who was MGK's guitarist, but Megan cleared the air and let everyone know not only had MGK never cheated on her, but she was actually pretty close with his bandmates and was confident that Sophie and MGK weren't an item. Megan told people that it was extremely disrespectful to run a news story that is baseless and contains only lies, and I couldn't have put it better myself. Number 6, Angelina Jolie. Now, being compared to anyone in life is not really a great feeling, even if that person is the coolest in the world. Why can't people just appreciate me for me, man? Well, that was the question on Megan's mind when she was offered the role that once belonged to her rival, Angelina Jolie. That's right, I said rival. Apparently very early in Megan's career, she was being compared to Jolie constantly. Just a side comment, for a while, the comparison became all too clear when she was offered the role of Lara Croft in the 2018 reboot of the original franchise. During the casting process, Megan claims that she was pulled in for a meeting. The director really wanted someone who could hold their own and reinvent themselves with a role like Laura. Megan was offered this role after the director saw her in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, yeah. In the first meeting, she was compared to Angelina Jolie and told exclusively that she reminded them of her. And apparently that's not the compliment that people think it is. They said that she was a no-brainer and that she loves the character, but the comparison was just apparently too much for her. Of course, the role eventually went to Alicia Vikander and the movie ultimately flopped. But we can't imagine Megan was only upset about the comparisons, right? Number 5, Michael Bay. Megan's been featured in several movies over the years, but it was an interview about her time with Michael beautiful bae that landed her in some hot water. The original live-action Transformers movies came out in 2007, starred Megan and Shia LaBeouf in the leading roles, and they were fun films, but apparently behind the scenes there was a ton of tension. According to Megan, who had previously worked with Michael on Bad Boys 2, working with this man was like working for a dictator in Germany in 1945. If you've taken a history class, you know who I'm talking about. Hitler! Of course, Michael didn't appreciate being compared to one of the worst men in history, so a lot of people speculated that her being left out of the third movie may have had something to do with behind-the-scenes drama. She went on to call him bland and claimed that he had no personality or social skills, which is just really rude. When the comments were made public, her career started slowly suffering. Not only was she written out of Transformers, but she was forced to make a public apology and retract the statements following the massive slew of backlash. She took a few years off, but Michael himself later acknowledged this misstep on Megan's part and not only accepted the retraction, but they actually ended up working together on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Woohoo! Let's break away from celebrities for a moment and just talk about this book because it's neat and it revealed a lot of stuff. Number 4, the tragedy. One of the more truly tragic revelations since the book's release is the fact that Megan suffered a loss very late in her journey as a mother. Within the final pages of the poetry book, Megan describes a heartbreaking pregnancy loss that she suffered with her current fiance, Colson Baker, better known as MGK. Megan told Kana Whitworth from ABC News that she had never been through anything like that before in her life. She has 3 kids already, so it was very difficult for both of them and sent them on a very wild journey together and separately and together and apart, trying to navigate what everything means and why it happened. Megan has made it clear since day one that this is not some expose memoir that you're gonna sit down and read for like 20 hours. This is a collection of truth told in her words, a story that she needed to share or it's going to make her sick. She's dealt with physical violence from exes, manipulation, tragedy, all of these things that she has had to deal with alone or behind closed doors. Now, while she never names any names in her book, we still feel our hearts wrench when she reads any single sentence. Number 3, addicted to boys. The title of Megan's book of poems is called Pretty Boys Are Poisonous and is filled with multiple excerpts regarding her past relationships. One thing she has spoken about briefly in interviews about this book is the fact that she was addicted to boys and had a history of getting together with her co-stars. She told Drew Barrymore on the Drew Barrymore Show that when she was young, she was really rebellious and wild, always running away to fall in love with a new flame, aka every co-star ever. She added that at the time she felt herself to be a free spirit and was addicted to the idea of falling in love. She went on to tell Drew that it was actually her kids Noah, Bodhi, and Journey that changed her whole mindset on her relationships and love. She shares her 3 sons with her ex Brian Austin Green, and she claims that something happened when she had her first, realizing that she didn't want to repeat the patterns of her own parents with her kids. Despite being a solid mom, she did admit that she's been a little bad in the past, admitting that she painted a Friedrich Nietzsche quote on an ex's wall in a ton of paint so that they had to redo their room, poking fun at herself by saying that anyone who dated her should write a poetry book because she was not a peach. Number 2, Oxys and Takikis. There is a poem in this book that shares the same name as this title entry, sort of. I'm not allowed to say the real thing because frickin' internet and their restrictions. Megan revealed on Good Morning America that she has been in several physically and mentally damaging relationships, and I know that's not even close to the right word to use, but again, can't say anything real on the internet. She explained that she was involved with a very famous dude, but nobody knew who she was dating. This unnamed celebrity is one of the men described as an evil ex. In her poem, she describes a dark moment with this unnamed man, writing, "Your eyes go black and I know it's too late to run." She told people that she was pinned, spat on, and later had hands placed on her throat by this delusional and possessed man. I had the opportunity to listen to some parts of this book, and I'm saying this 100% sincerity. Go check it out. Megan is a wonderful writer, and I honestly feel like these words are very powerful. This particular one is indescribable. I can't read the entire thing to you because it's got no words in it, but I also don't want to ruin it for you. And at number 1, the 2009 Golden Globes. Now, this isn't a revelation from her book, but it's something that she had to go through publicly, and it deserves to be mentioned. In 2009, comments started flying left and right after Megan Fox was spotted acting a little strange at that year's Golden Globes. She explained that during the event, she was placed at a table with Blake Lively and the Jonas Brothers. In the center of the table was a bottle of Mo Champagne, and she went through multiple glasses of that. At the time, she was not much of a drinker, but following her actions at the event, she decided to quit for good. She actually had herself a good old-fashioned blackout at the event, but the parts that she does remember are not great. She then went to the red carpet and said a lot of things that got her in a ton of trouble. In a clip from 2009, Megan can be seen walking around and telling people how nervous she was to be there and that she was on the verge of tossing her cookies at any moment. She also made a ton of comments on her female co-stars. Nothing bad. One quote is just her expressing how much she wanted to have Salma Hayek's chest. The evening was also a little strange as people were wondering where her husband at the time, Brian Austin Green, was. Apparently, he was a man with an ego and he didn't want to be her date. At least that's what she said.